Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday, and it is time for the return of another series from this channel. Over the past several years now, I've done this on and off. There have been times when I've temporarily retired it. There have been times where I've kind of said it really doesn't matter that much, so I'm not really going to talk about it. But generally speaking, this seems to resonate and inform a lot of people, so we're going to go ahead and bring it back from week one this year and see where it goes. If later in the year I feel like that it's just not really mattering because, hey, maybe the Seahawks are having a not very good season and there's really no point in thinking about the playoffs at a certain point, or if the Seahawks are doing so good, they're at the top of the conference and it really doesn't matter, so then there would really be nothing to worry about. So, barring those circumstances, this is a series that I think helps a lot of people. It's the rooting guide. It is basically who to root for in games that do not involve the Seahawks. I think we all understand that in games where the Seahawks play, we are rooting for the Seahawks. I can't imagine any scenario in which you wouldn't, unless the team is eliminated from the playoffs and it's the end of the year and you have a chance at the number one pick. But that's not going to happen this year, guys. We're not going to be that bad. There's no way. I don't buy that. We could be bad. It's possible. It's always within the realm of possibility, but being that bad, not this year. So I'm not even thinking about that really. But yeah, in these other games, what are the potential effects on the Seahawks? And this early in the season, it's hard to say sometimes, but we can say a few pretty definitive things about who we should be rooting for. And again, this is from an objective standpoint. Maybe you as a Seahawks fan subjectively hate a team and will not root for them. Like maybe you hate the Titans. For some reason you hate the Titans. So you'll just never root for them even when technically you should. Okay, that's different. This is objective. Objectively speaking, for the betterment of the Seahawks, who should you be rooting for and who should you be rooting against in each game? So let's go through the schedule. We're starting off later today with Lions Chiefs. Pretty interesting opening game for the schedule. I think this one's pretty obvious. Whenever you have AFC versus NFC, you should pretty much always root for the AFC to win. The Lions are a team that, by the way, has a very good chance of making the playoffs. I think that division is bad, and they may end up being the best team by default just because they're competent. So, yeah, I think you are rooting for the Chiefs here. You might end up in a record competition with the Lions where you both win the division. It's just whoever has the better record gets the higher seed. But even if not, the Chiefs being good really doesn't matter to the Seahawks at all because they're in that other conference. Okay, so that gets us to Sunday, and for a lot of this stuff, it's honestly going to be just it depends on who you think is going to be good. Like Panthers Falcons, that's the first game listed here. Panthers Falcons, who do you think is going to be the better team this year? Who is a bigger threat to the Seahawks? Whoever you think that is, you should probably be rooting against that team. So, Panthers Falcons, I guess you'd probably say you're rooting for the Panthers because the Falcons are probably going to be better. I mean, it's tough, right? It's very subjective. Panthers are starting a rookie quarterback behind a bad offensive line, so I don't think they're a threat. The Falcons are at least going to be able to run the ball really well. They've got some interesting stuff going on that team that I think is of note. So I guess you root for the Panthers. You also want the Panthers to maybe have a win so that when you play them week 3, they're not desperate for a win, I guess. So I would go with that, but the effect is minimal. Bengals, Browns, I don't think this can really have any kind of effect on the Seahawks. So root for whoever you want to. Who do you like better, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson? I think we all know the answer to that one. Jaguars, Colts. I guess we're rooting against the Colts, right? We want the Colts to lose every game so they have to fire sale, and maybe we end up getting some of these players in trades. Guys like DeForest Buckner. So I guess we're rooting for the Jaguars there, but it's thin. Buccaneers, Vikings, NFC matchup of two teams that are not in our division. Bucks don't seem like they're going to be any kind of a threat this year. The Vikings could be. So I guess we're rooting for the Buccaneers. The Bucks are not going to be good this year, I don't think. I seriously doubt it. They weren't even really good last year, and they've mostly just lost stuff this season. I don't think they've added anything that's going to move the needle dramatically in the positive direction. So I guess if the Buccaneers want to bank a couple of wins, then that's probably a little better for us. Titans Saints, that's another AFC versus NFC game, and we may end up having the Saints third round pick. May. So you may as well root for the Titans here, I think. We would root for them anyway, but that draft pick thing really pushes it to another level. The Saints, not a team that I appreciate anyway, to be perfectly honest. I don't like that team just outside of a rivalry or outside of a draft pick. I'm not really going to root for that team unless I absolutely have to. So, yeah, I guess we are rooting for the Titans in that one. 49ers Steelers, this one's pretty self explanatory. You're pretty much always going to root against the 49ers. And it's an AFC team anyway that has no real effect on the Seahawks. So, yeah, we're definitely rooting for the Steelers in that one. We have the Cardinals and Commanders. Now, this is interesting because the Cardinals are in our division, but wouldn't you rather have them win a game or two? Because really, when you think about it, the Cardinals are. They're not going to be good this year. They're going to be bad. But if they can find a way to bank a few wins and take themselves out of the Caleb Williams sweepstakes somehow, that's valuable. So if we could find a way to get the Cardinals to 4 wins instead of 2 wins, or 5 wins instead of 3 wins, or whatever, so they don't get Caleb, honestly, I'm willing to risk it and say we should root for them to win a couple games, even though they're in our division. I'm just big picture. You can't really be that worried about them, I think. So yeah, I'm actually going for the Cardinals there, and then Texans Ravens. We play the Ravens this year. We don't play the Texans, so strength of schedule could matter a little bit, but yeah, like I'm not even tripping on it. And the Ravens are going to win anyway. Let's be real. And that gets us to the 1 p.m. slot, or the 1:25 p.m. slot. Packers Bears. I guess we're rooting for the Bears because the Bears are less likely to be good this year than the Packers, but I'm not super high on either team, so I don't think it matters. Whoever wins, wins. I don't think that it's worth investing much thought into. Raiders, Broncos, the draft pick situation, I guess, would push it towards us rooting for the Raiders, but not, again, the draft pick thing is not that big of a deal. I've said it before, I'll say it again. So I don't think we have to spend a lot of time and investment and heartache over a third round pick. So I guess I would say the Raiders, but that's because otherwise it's just a completely neutral thing. Eagles, Patriots, AFC versus NFC, slam dunk. Going to root for the Patriots here. If the Eagles could get knocked down just a little bit and the Seahawks improve maybe a little more than some people are expecting, you could be in range. So them finding a way to lose a game like this that you would never expect them to lose is definitely part of that process developing. Last 1:25 start is Dolphins Chargers. We don't play either team this year. I don't see how this one matters for us at all. I can't think of anything that would make this one matter in the slightest. So root for whoever you want to in that one. I think there's no real objective rooting interest. Cowboys Giants. I guess Giants, because the Cowboys are probably going to be better. So you'd rather have things get evened out, but you also don't want too many teams in the NFC East competing for a wild card, because the Seahawks may very well end up competing for a wild card. So if you have Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles all in the playoffs, there's one wild card spot left. So I think it's the Giants, but I'm not sure. So, pretty. I think you're kind of indifferent there. Bills, Jets, final game. Root against the Jets because of Sauce Gardner, I guess. I don't know. I don't even hate Sauce Gardner that much, but I know a lot of you guys do, so you guys will probably be doing that. But root for the Bills, I guess, and that's it. So see you guys later. Go Hawks. That's what I got.